The rap game woke up confused, terrified, and hyped all at the same time, because whatever just happened between Chief Keef and YoungBoy never broke again. It wasn't supposed to happen. Not in 2024, not in this lifetime, not with their history, not with their cities behind them, and definitely not with O'Block watching every move like hawks in the night. But then, out of nowhere, the internet explodes. A mysterious snippet drops. No cover art, no credits, no explanation. Bro, just two of the most polarizing voices in hip-hop screaming on the same beat like they had a score to settle with the whole industry. Fans start losing their minds. Comment sections turn into war zones. And before the blogs can even type the headline, Chicago is already rumbling, quiet, eerie, like the calm before a tornado touches down. But the real chaos begins when Lil Tim's name suddenly pops up in the mix, out of nowhere. Reports start flooding social media, a heated confrontation, an argument that got physical, sirens in the background of a blurry live stream, people yelling about loyalty, lines crossed, and too far gone to fix. Nobody knows what's real or fake, but the timing is too perfect and too messy to ignore. And then the bombshell hits. O'Block allegedly feels betrayed, fans are shocked, streets are buzzing, people are saying things nobody wants to say on camera. And all anyone can agree on is this: something about that Chief Keef ex-NBA YoungBoy collab lit a match, and Lil Tim became the first spark in a fire nobody can put out. The question now isn't if drama is coming, it's how bad it's about to get. The moment that snippet leaked, everything shifted. The rap world didn't just react, it erupted. People were screaming online, arguing in comment sections, posting theories, tagging every blog page they could think of. But what fans didn't know was that this collab wasn't some random studio experiment or label-forced crossover. It was the result of months of secret calls, hidden meetings, missed warnings, and emotional explosions behind the scenes. Word around the industry was that the two rappers had privately squashed old tensions long before the public ever knew. They'd been sending unfinished tracks back and forth. Both feeling like the world was pushing them into separate corners when the money and the legacy were in coming together. But while they were celebrating reconciliation, the streets were bracing for fallout, and nowhere felt that pressure heavier than O'Block, where loyalty isn't a slogan, it's bloodline. According to someone extremely close to the situation, the first spark happened weeks before the collab dropped. It started with a phone call, one that was supposed to be private, but of course, nothing stays private in this industry. A mutual friend allegedly told one of the O'Block OGs that something big was happening, something that might change how Chicago looks at things. That alone raised eyebrows. Chicago politics don't bend easily. When word spread that the move might involve the Chicago superstar teaming up with Louisiana's most controversial voice, emotions ran high instantly. People felt blindsided, confused, and honestly betrayed. Ain't no way he doing that, someone supposedly said during a heated conversation caught in the background of a shaky Instagram live. Ain't no way he's standing next to that man. But the live ended before viewers could hear the rest. Then came the second spark, a leaked text thread. Screenshots surfaced online showing arguments among people close to O'Block. Lots of messages saying things like, he ain't listening, he moving different, and watch who he aligning with. Nobody confirmed if the texts were real, but they spread so fast that by nightfall everyone assumed they were. And when fans saw that Lil Tim's name was mentioned in the comments under the posts, everything went nuclear. Suddenly the narrative flipped again. Now people thought the collab wasn't just about music, it was about alliances, power, revenge. Old pain resurfacing in a new era of rap politics. While the internet argued back and forth, Lil Tim was dealing with his own storm. Multiple witnesses claim he'd been having tense conversations for days leading up to the altercation. One person who saw him in Atlanta said he was pacing outside a studio, phone pressed tight to his ear, whispering, "They playing with my name again. Nah, I ain't letting that slide." When the person tried to speak to him, he waved them off. Boss looking stressed and locked in on the call. Minutes later, he jumped into a car and sped off. Fans now believe he had already caught wind of the collab and felt like the move was aimed at him, even if it wasn't. But the real twist came when someone from his camp claimed he had been warned. According to this insider, a message had been sent to him days earlier saying something like, "Don't react, don't fall for it. It ain't about you." But Lil Tim didn't believe it. it. His emotions were high. Oh, and he felt like the universe was lining up against him again. Every time he opened his phone, he saw people tagging him in posts about the collab, memes popping up, fans making jokes, comments saying he was the biggest loser in the situation. And you know how the internet is. They poke at wounds until they bleed. Meanwhile, over in Chicago, the tension in O-Block reached a boiling point. People who had stayed silent for years suddenly started voicing their opinions. Boy, one guy who grew up on the block posted a video saying, "This ain't business, this personal. That man know exactly what lines he crossing." The video was deleted within minutes, but screen recordings had already spread everywhere. The family was left divided. Some people said the Chicago rapper had every right to expand, evolve, and break old boundaries. Others said certain alliances can't be forgiven, not with the history, not with the losses, not with the scars that still live in the city. Even fans outside the situation felt the shift. Comment sections were a war zone. Half the internet celebrated the collab as a generational moment, two powerhouses finally coming together. The other half called it disrespectful, dangerous, even reckless. One fan tweeted, "You can't end beef that never started with you. Some stories ain't yours to rewrite." That tweet went viral instantly, reshared by multiple verified artists, sparking an entire debate on industry loyalty versus personal growth. But what nobody knew, what nobody could know, was that behind the scenes, there had already been attempts to stop the collab from dropping. Several people close to both camps allegedly tried convincing them to delay or cancel it altogether. Some said the timing was too sensitive, others said the streets weren't ready, and one person reportedly said, "It's gonna get somebody hurt." But the artists didn't listen. They believed the music would override the politics, the past, the pressure. They were wrong, because the night the snippet leaked, everything exploded at once. Lil Tim was involved in an intense situation, something that escalated from shouting to shoving to violence so quickly that witnesses didn't even know what triggered it. Some claimed it was a personal argument, others insisted it was directly tied to the collab. No one could agree on the truth, but the timing was too perfect, too messy, too explosive to ignore. And when O-Block heard about the altercation, that's when they finally snapped. Rumors flew that calls were made. Some say warnings were issued. Others say people went silent, which is always more dangerous. The energy shifted from disappointment to outrage. And suddenly, the music wasn't music anymore. It was a spark, a trigger, a declaration of war dressed as a collaboration. Fans are now convinced the collab didn't just inspire drama. It created a chain reaction that might be bigger than anybody expected. And this is only the beginning of the chaos that followed. The real chaos began in the hours after the collab snippet shook the internet, when people close to the situation started revealing that this wasn't just music politics. It was emotional, personal, and already spiraling out of control. While fans were celebrating, laughing, making memes, and treating the whole thing like entertainment, the people at the center of the storm were dealing with emotions that had been simmering for years. One insider claimed that the Chicago rapper had actually tried reaching out to certain Chicago figures before the collab dropped, hoping to smooth things over. The problem, some of those calls went unanswered. Others were met with cold, clipped responses. And one person, someone who had influence on the block, allegedly told him, "You grown, you do what you want to do." That might sound supportive to an outsider, but Chicago people know exactly what that phrase means. It's not approval, it's distance. It's a warning disguised as a blessing. Meanwhile, in Atlanta, the energy around Lil Tim was turning volatile fast. People who saw him the night everything erupted said he wasn't his usual self. He wasn't laughing, wasn't cracking jokes. He looked tense, irritated, and ready to snap at anyone who breathed the wrong way. An eyewitness at a gas station said they overheard him on the phone, voice raised, saying, "Nah, they trying me. They think I'm soft. They think I ain't seeing what's going on." When the witness's friend tried recording, someone from Tim's camp shut it down immediately, saying, "Not tonight." That phrase alone told fans everything. They'd heard it too many times right before something serious went down. But the twist that really set everything on fire came from someone who claimed to be in the room when the snippet dropped. According to this source, Lil Tim was scrolling through his phone when he saw the clip, and he allegedly froze, silent for a few seconds, before throwing his phone across the room. People around him tried calming him down, telling him it wasn't that deep, reminding him that collabs happen all the time in the industry, but he wasn't hearing it. "Y'all don't get it," he snapped. "This ain't music, this a message." Nobody knows exactly what he meant by that, but fans ran wild with interpretations. Some believed he thought the collab was a sneak diss. Others thought he saw it as a power move, and some said he felt targeted, like the collab was a line being drawn publicly. Back in Chicago, word spread fast. Too fast. O'Block isn't like the internet. You don't just scroll and forget. Stories move through whispers, group texts, barbershops, living rooms, and late-night gatherings where people speak low but emotions run high. One guy who claimed to have grown up on the block said he was at a family cookout when someone brought up the collab. And the reaction was split right down the middle. Some people were genuinely proud, excited to see someone from their soil reach a level of fame that allowed him to collaborate with anyone he wanted, but others took it differently, like a betrayal, like history was being rewritten without their blessing. Voices got louder. Arguments broke out. One woman allegedly yelled, "Y'all forget too fast. We ain't healed from nothing." That statement alone echoed across social media once it leaked. And then came another layer of drama. A voice recording claimed to be from someone loosely connected to Lil Tim's camp began circulating online. In the recording, the person says, "If dude think he can just link with anybody and not deal with the consequences, he mistaken. Folks ain't playing about respect." Whether the recording was real or fake didn't matter. Fans believed it. Blogs reposted it. TikTok conspiracy accounts used it as the center of a whole narrative. And just like that, the situation turned even darker. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the two leading artists reportedly had no idea how bad the fallout had become. They were celebrating privately, excited about finally connecting after years of tension, sending each other voice messages, hyping up the track, talking about making a music video, clearing schedules, making big statements like, "This gon' break the internet for real." And technically, they weren't wrong, just not in the way they intended. And while they were celebrating, O'Block was boiling, Atlanta was heating up, and Lil Tim, he wasn't calming down, he was escalating. Witnesses claimed that later that night, he got into another argument, this time with someone from his own circle. They were yelling in the parking lot of a strip mall, voices echoing, people watching from cars. One person reportedly overheard Tim saying, "Y'all don't understand what this means. They lining things up against me." His friend tried telling him to relax, and saying he was reading too deep into things, but Tim wasn't listening. "Nah," he said, "I know how this go. I know what's next." That statement spread online instantly. Fans and bloggers twisted it every possible way. Some said he felt threatened, others said he was planning retaliation, and the people closest to him, they stayed silent, which only fueled the speculation. What made everything 10 times worse was when an anonymous Instagram story popped up from an account with ties to O'Block. Even though the story had no caption, just a dark photo of the neighborhood at night, followed by a second slide that said, "We ain't forgetting nothing." The internet exploded. Screenshots circulated everywhere. People argued in circles about whether it was a real warning or just trolling, but the timing was too perfect for anyone to ignore. By this point, the two rappers who made the collab were reportedly confused about why people were acting weird around them. One insider claimed someone from their team told them, "Bro, you created a storm." And the rapper allegedly said, "Over a song? Be serious." But it wasn't the song, it was the symbolism, the connection, the history, the placement of names that the street still held heavy. Then everything blew over the edge. Lil Tim got into a violent altercation that fans immediately linked to the collab, even though nobody had confirmed the details. Rumors said he'd been arguing with someone who mentioned the snippet. Others said someone provoked him, and some said he initiated it out of pure frustration. But the moment people heard altercation and Lil Tim in the same sentence, the internet filled in the blanks on its own. And when O'Block heard, they didn't just react, they responded. Some say calls were made, some say people started moving differently, some say the energy in the neighborhood felt like old wounds were bleeding again. And one thing was clear, the collab wasn't just music anymore, it was a trigger, and the fallout was only beginning. As news of the altercation spread, the energy across both cities shifted from confusion to full-blown tension, the kind you can feel in the air before a storm cracks open the sky. People close to the situation began whispering that this wasn't just a random fight or heated argument. This was the moment everything boiled over. That's the pressure point that had been building since the snippet dropped and emotions ran unchecked. According to someone who was allegedly present when Tim showed up after the incident, he looked shaken, pacing back and forth, sweating, muttering, I told y'all it was coming." His friends tried to calm him, telling him to sit down, breathe, explain what happened, but he refused. His adrenaline was too high, his paranoia too sharp. His mind spinning with the idea that the collab wasn't just music, it was an attack, a message aimed directly at him. And once you start thinking like that, every look, every comment, every social media post feels like a threat. Meanwhile, Chicago was undergoing its own emotional meltdown. The block was buzzing, not with excitement, but with arguments happening at every corner. Cars pulling up, people stepping out, conversations that started calm and turned heated fast. One guy who lived in the area said he saw two groups almost come to blows because one dude said the collab ain't that deep, and the other shot back, "You must not know the history, goofy." The family members of people connected to past events started getting emotional too. One woman reportedly said, "Y'all keep talking music, but we talking real life out here." She wiped tears as she spoke, frustration and pain dripping through every word. That clip went viral not because of what she said, but because of how raw it felt. The past wasn't past for her, and the collab felt like reopening a wound that hadn't healed. And while Chicago was splitting into two emotional camps, the rappers at the center of it all had no clue how far things were spiraling. They were still texting about video ideas, discussing locations, laughing about how crazy the internet was reacting. One insider claimed that someone from their team tried warning them, saying, "Bro, there's real tension behind this." But they brushed it off, thinking the drama was just social media noise. "People talk," one of them allegedly said. "Ain't nobody doing nothing for real." That line has since been repeated by fans online who say it symbolizes exactly why everything escalated. They underestimated how deep the politics ran. The collab didn't just cross city lines, it crossed emotional boundaries. It made people confront old memories they wanted buried. It brought up names, events, and pain that many had tried for years to distance themselves from. That's why when the news of Tim's altercation hit O'Block, some people reacted with anger, some with satisfaction, and others with genuine fear. Not fear of him, but fear of what the chain reaction could become. One young guy reportedly said, "This gonna end bad. I can feel it." He said it quietly, almost under his breath, but someone recorded it and posted it. The clip only added fuel to the fire. Even then came the most shocking twist of all. Someone from Chicago claimed that the block had tried reaching out to warn one of the artists, telling him to chill on the rollout, be mindful, or at least wait. The artist allegedly saw the message but didn't respond. That one moment became a turning point. Whether the message was real or fake didn't matter anymore. People believed it, blogs reposted it, fans analyzed every detail, and TikTok creators built entire conspiracy threads around it. Suddenly the narrative shifted again. It wasn't just a collab. It wasn't just an argument. It was a pressure cooker with too many hands on the lid. In Atlanta, Tim was spiraling further. People close to him said he started isolating himself, locking himself in rooms, screening calls, refusing to go certain places. One friend claimed Tim said, "They trying to play chess with me. I ain't nobody's pawn." The friend tried reassuring him, saying nobody was plotting against him. But Tim shook his head and replied, "Everything connected. You just ain't paying attention." His paranoia wasn't coming out of nowhere. He felt like the world was laughing at him, like his name was being used as a punchline in a story he didn't write. And when a man feels cornered, emotionally or publicly, he reacts. Meanwhile, Chicago's emotions were hitting a breaking point. A group of young men from the block reportedly gathered late at night, standing under a streetlight, arguing about what should happen next. Some said the situation didn't involve them and shouldn't be taken personally. Others felt like the collab made Chicago look weak, like someone was rewriting history without consulting the people who lived it. The loudest voice allegedly said, "He left us in the dark, then teamed up with the one dude who ain't supposed to be in the picture. That's disrespect." The group fell silent after that, each person soaking in the weight of the accusation. But what shocked fans everywhere was an unexpected twist. Someone from near the block posted a cryptic message that said, "A conversation happened. Y'all don't know everything." People went wild trying to guess what it meant. Did someone confront the Chicago rapper? Did the rapper try to explain himself? Was there an argument, a reconciliation attempt? Nobody confirmed anything, but the mystery only made the internet dig harder. A few hours later, another rumor popped up that one of the artists tried contacting Tim privately. Some said the call went through and ended badly. Others said Tim declined it immediately. A few claimed the call never happened at all, but the rumor itself created another explosion. Because if that call did happen, the tension wasn't just street level anymore. It was personal, direct, and dangerously unpredictable. The worst part, fans weren't just watching anymore. They were participating, tagging people, pushing narratives, instigating drama, making jokes that only fueled the emotional emotional fire. Every meme was another spark, every tweet a dropped match, every TikTok a gust of wind. People forgot these weren't characters in a movie. They were real people with real connections, real history, and real consequences. By the end of that week, one thing was clear. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't internet drama. This wasn't just a collab gone wrong. This was a collision of egos, of cities, of history, of unresolved trauma, and everybody involved was standing too close when the sparks started flying. The streets were restless, the fans were obsessed, the industry was nervous, and the next twist, nobody was ready for it. As the tension built, the situation took a darker, more unpredictable turn that nobody in the industry could ignore. What started as online speculation and emotional reactions was now spilling into real-life movements, hushed phone calls, unexpected travel plans, and conversations so intense that even the people witnessing them didn't want to repeat them out loud. Insiders began claiming that both camps were now fully aware of how serious things were becoming. One source said the atmosphere in the studio where the Chicago rapper was working felt tight, like people were choosing their words carefully, moving slower, watching the door every few minutes. Someone from his team reportedly slammed their phone on the table after reading a message about the Atlanta altercation, saying, "See, this is why folks told him to fall back." The rapper, sitting on the couch with his hood pulled low, supposedly muttered, "Ain't nobody finna tell me how to move." That line spread internally like wildfire, not in admiration, but in concern. His stubborn confidence was part of what made him iconic, but in this moment, it was also what scared everyone around him. In Atlanta, things were unraveling just as quickly. Lil Tim's circle was fractured. Some believed he needed to lay low, others thought he needed to speak up, and a few encouraged the rising hostility, telling him he was right to feel targeted. One insider described a chilling moment where Tim sat in the studio staring at the wall while a beat played behind him. He didn't move, didn't blink, didn't acknowledge anyone. Finally, someone asked if he was good, and he responded, "Fine, why they keep playing like my name don't hold weight." When another person said the collab wasn't about him personally, he snapped, "Everything about me, they know what they doing." His paranoia had grown into something heavier, almost tangible. You could feel it in the room, and no one knew how to talk him down anymore. Meanwhile, in Chicago, O-Block was in a state of emotional whiplash. One moment people were yelling, the next they were quiet, reflective, mourning something they couldn't even articulate. One older figure from the block reportedly sat on a stoop with a group of younger guys, telling them, "Everything y'all seeing online ain't the truth. Stop letting outsiders hype y'all up." But the younger ones weren't buying it. They felt like lines had been crossed. They felt like their loyalty had been disrespected. They felt unheard, unseen, overlooked. One young man allegedly got up, kicked a trash can, and yelled, "So what we supposed to do? Just sit here looking stupid while they link up on tracks like everything peaches?" His frustration was real and symbolic of the generational divide forming within the community. At the same time, more rumors surfaced about a meeting, an attempt from someone connected to the Chicago rapper to calm the situation. Some said the meeting was virtual, others claimed it was in person, but everyone agreed on one detail: it did not go well. An argument reportedly broke out, as the voices raised on both ends. One person tried to explain that the collab was strictly business, but someone from the opposing side fired back, "Ain't no business when it come to this." Eventually someone hung up and the room allegedly fell into stunned silence. That moment became the unofficial confirmation that the situation was not going to resolve itself easily. The test then came the twist that shook both cities. A leaked DM conversation allegedly from someone close to the Chicago rapper surfaced online. In the messages, the person said, "We ain't worried about dude, he made his bed." Fans immediately connected dude to Lil Tim, and from there, the narrative spiraled into chaos. People accused the Chicago camp of issuing threats. Others said the messages were fake. A few claimed they were taken out of context. But the damage was done. The internet had already crowned it as proof that this was escalating into something bigger than music. Meanwhile, Lil Tim's reaction to the leaked messages only intensified things. According to a witness inside the Atlanta studio, he stood up mid-session, grabbed his jacket, and said, bet, watch how I move now." People tried stopping him, asking where he was going, but he ignored everyone and walked out the door. No one knew whether he was going to confront someone, call someone, or simply drive around aimlessly to calm down. But everyone knew it wasn't good. His pride and paranoia were now steering him more than logic. Word of his disappearance traveled fast. People in Atlanta began speculating that he was headed to Chicago. Others thought he was meeting with someone from his own camp to make a plan, and some believed he simply wanted to be alone before doing something impulsive. But when he reappeared hours later, his energy was calmer, but not in a comforting way, more like someone who had already made a decision. At the same time, the Chicago rapper's team was panicking in their own way. They allegedly canceled a video shoot last minute, citing creative changes, but insiders said it was because too many unfamiliar cars kept pulling up around the location. Someone from the crew said, "Bro, it felt off, like eyes everywhere." The rapper reportedly said he wasn't worried, but even he agreed the shoot should be postponed. Fans online, meanwhile, were treating the situation like an unfolding Netflix series. TikTok creators were mapping timelines, Instagram bloggers were posting theories, and Twitter users were turning simple phrases into conspiracies. One fan tweeted, "This ain't music beef no more, this spiritual warfare." The tweet went viral overnight, but the real breaking point came when an Atlanta-based producer claimed there was a second, although unreleased collab track between the two rappers, one even more aggressive, even more disrespectful in tone, even more emotionally charged. He allegedly said, "If y'all think the snippet was wild, y'all ain't ready for the next one." This claim nearly broke the internet. O-Block fans reacted with fury, Tim's supporters reacted with suspicion, and the industry reacted with fear. The possibility of a second track made everyone think the first one wasn't a one-time link-up. It was a partnership, a message, a movement. And if that was true, then the political lines in hip-hop were shifting faster than anyone could process. Both cities felt it, both camps felt it, both artists, whether they admitted it or not, felt it. But the person who felt it the most? Lul Tim, because suddenly everyone was talking, moving, worrying, watching, except him. He was planning, thinking, waiting, and everyone around him could sense it. The air was too heavy, the silence too loud. The next stage of the drama was coming, and nobody knew which direction the explosion would go. And now that everything has unfolded, the leaked snippet, the emotional fallout, the arguments behind the scenes, the altercation that sent shockwaves through two cities, one truth sits heavy in the middle of all the chaos. This story isn't finished. The tension between Chicago and Atlanta hasn't settled. The conversations happening in private rooms haven't wrapped up. And the people closest to the situation, they're still choosing silence over clarity, which only fuels more rumors and more fear. Fans are shocked, wondering how a single collab could ignite a chain reaction so explosive that entire communities felt the aftershocks. Emotions ran high, loyalties were tested, families felt divided, and the rap game watched in disbelief as history seemed to repeat itself in new forms. The collab wasn't just music, it was a spark, a symbol. A reminder that in hip-hop, alliances carry weight, words carry danger, and timing can turn a hit record into a headline nobody's prepared for. But the biggest question remains, what happens next? Will the artist double down and drop the full collab? Will there be a second track? Will cooler heads step in and diffuse the ticking tension between both sides? Or is this just the beginning of a storm that's about to get louder? That's where you come in. If you've been locked into this story from the first leak, if you felt the tension, the shock, the twists, then don't just watch from the sidelines. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Who do you think made the first wrong move? Do you think the collab was a bold statement or a reckless one? And what do you believe is coming next? Make sure you like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications, because this story is changing by the hour. And you don't want to miss the next chapter. Your voice is part of the culture, so speak up. Let's hear it.